Hello, everybody. We are ready for our next run by DrMaxtermind. It is Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure. I believe this is any percent with no item use. And Maxtermind, are you ready?
Yo, born ready.
Born ready. I like to hear that, Dr. Maxtermind. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we start?
Sure, of course. So my name is Dr. Max. I am a survival horror speedrun usually, but I actually got started on Twitch as a charity streamer 3 years ago for mental health and animal advocacy. And I started playing Boogerman, which came out in 1994 when I was 5 years old. It was fantastic. I have a funny story to tell about it. I'll tell about it a little bit later. But we were streaming on an old school laptop that was not meant for streaming. So we could only run Boogerman and Resident Evil Survivor for like the longest time. So, but I am super excited to show this game off. Just to let the person know that's controlling timing in the background, timer does not start until Boogerman's back section hits the grass in the first level. So I will definitely make sure to call it out.
All right, Max, we are so excited to see Boogerman pick it and flick his way through this adventure. And you are ready to start whenever.
Oh, of course, absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead right here. I saw someone ask what does pass do. That's where you enter passwords if you want to skip levels. But we're gonna go ahead and enter the start toilet here and read a little bit of backstory and some deep lore into Boogerman. It's a dark and stormy night at Professor Stinkbomb's lab, where a machine has been built to protect the world from pollution by trans-existing it to dimension excrement. Eccentric millionaire Snotty Ragsdale has taken a job at the lab to investigate its safety and find out exactly where the pollution is going. He has a bad feeling about this latest contraption, and on this night, his suspicions will come true. So you can see it's a little bit Batman-esque. We have our good old-fashioned Snotty Ragsdale, janitor by day, superhero by night. Unfortunately, has a dust allergy. He sneezes on a rod of plutonium, opening up a door to Dimension Excrement, where he has to save the world from Boogermeister.
Wow, this is a really serious story.
Alright, so get ready on the timer here. And
all right,
timer
are you going to count down?
No countdown, starts now. I was like, no time for countdown. So, the main thing in this game is this is your typical retro platformer, so a lot of what we're going to do here and a lot of the strats related to this game are going to be related to me timing a bunch of jumps accordingly and being able to chain jumps together on multiple enemies. As I said before, and as Sneeple said, this is the any percent category with no items use, which means we're going to be avoiding 2 major items here that give us power-ups throughout the run and make the run a little bit easier, so we're trying to make it harder on ourselves. As Rack just said, this is the Dark Souls of retro platformers. So get yourself ready for that, of course. Those 2 items are the chili pepper and the bottle of milk. The chili pepper allows our burps and farts and super belches and super farts to be flame charged. And the milk actually turns our boogers into loogies, which does double damage. So, if anyone wanted to be any more...
Wow, the science behind that.
If anyone wanted to be more grossed out, there you go.
Dr. Maxtermind, do we have time for one donation?
Absolutely, go ahead.
All right, we have one donation from Underrated Critic with $2 saying, rest in peace, Nazim Richardson, Rafael Garcia, and Roger Mayweather. Underrated, thank you very much for your $2 donation. We'll be going towards saving the animals, and thank you again.
Yo, thanks, Underrated. Appreciate it. So in this game, every single set of stages has 4 levels followed by a boss fight. And one of the interesting things is you'll see that every one of these has these like final exit areas here where Boogerman will go into and start building a ladder with plungers. So we're trying to avoid as best we can 10 or more plungers because it wastes about 3 to 4 seconds every time he does try to build that ladder. So that's what we're going to attempt to avoid as best as possible, so we can save that time in these little like side scenes. So in this first set of levels in the Flatulent Swamps, basically what it's teaching you to use at the very beginning is some of the trampolines, of course, but also, as I said, basic chain bounces on multiple enemies, dodging the plungers, and this also leads into multi-tiered levels. So in some levels, there are quite a few areas where you have, oh no, that guy's a meanie. where you have the ability to take different routes to get to and from different places. And so in this level in particular, we're actually going to go up 3 levels in order to get to the end of the level. So it's pretty lengthy in terms of trying to get around with all the platforming and make sure that you know where to jump up and where to just keep running straight. Double bounce licorice monsters. I actually don't know what any of these monsters are called. I made up names when I was a kid, and I've never forgotten them. So for example, those basic dudes with the spears, those are the nose goblins. And we've got Big Bertha, who's the yellow one, and Snuffleupagus, who's the orange furry one. And then of course we have the snails, and the ghosts, and the little single boogers that are like running around and stuff. I'll be calling them out as I run past them, so as best I can. There's a toilet goblin. That's what scared me as a child. I thought one of the toilet goblins was gonna come out and get me one day. Alright, cool. So we're now heading into our first boss fight of the entire run here. So this is Hick Boy. He is an absolute bundle of stereotypes. So one of the funny things about all of these bosses in general is that they all have a set number of attacks that they spawn through in a pattern. Their patterns can change. So for example, this guy here throws his chicken. He also makes his chicken lay some eggs. He also flies across the screen. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to go ahead and use our super burps and our super farts to do as much damage as humanly possible. You actually can't hurt him when he's flying across the screen, but you also cannot hurt him when he doesn't have his chicken in his hands. So he has to have his chicken in his hands, and if he does, then you can actually hurt him. I have not played X-Men Clone Wars, but it sounds like fun. I'm down to try it out. Okay. So, this is the pits. These levels are relatively short in the grand scheme of the entire game, but basically this is going to teach us a lot more about the trampoline jumps because there's so many more of them. It's also going to give us our chance to practice our like Steph Curry throws from deep to try to hit enemies that are actually off screen. So one of the things about this game that makes it also really interesting is a lot of the enemies don't spawn into the screen until you're about to enter that like frame of the area. So one of the things that I'll do is I'll continue to move to the right while also throwing a booger really early in order to like spawn the enemy and then try to make sure that the booger is still in frame to hit them to take them out. It's also a way that we do enemy manipulation. Which I'll show off a little bit later. The downside is if I mess it up, I also have the ability to despawn things that are important, like a trampoline or a cape or a checkpoint will despawn. And that's never fun. It's just not fun. So Snee, are you disgusted yet with the run so far?
It's been an interesting game. I've been paying a lot of attention to all the boogers, all the very interesting stuff. Yeah.
I think you definitely picked the right game to start off.
There's not really much more to look at though, but
to start off your
and
hosting marathon here. So.
And how much longer is the no item percent than the regular any percent?
Yeah, so the regular 80% with items will save you a solid chunk of time. I honestly don't know exactly how much it saves because I don't run it. I have only run this one and I've tried to run this one into the ground. So, but that one involves a lot more detailed routing on picking up the actual items as well as trying not to get hit the entire time. Because as soon as you get hit, you lose your item.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it really, but some of them do really help you with a lot of level skips. For example, after this level, we're going to enter a mountain stage where we're going to have the ability to climb several levels up in the air. And you can skip that by using the chili pepper because it allows you the chance to fly, which is actually pretty cool. We can see that in the credits because you get unlimited chili pepper in the credits. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about on the pits as well is the idea of environmental hazards. Ooh, what is a hitbox? We died. Oh no. Environmental hazards. So this is one of the few
where
levels.
you got a Maxtermind.
This is one of the few levels where the background can actively hurt you. So what I mean by that is that there was that thing at the beginning with the double boogers, and it was spouting out of the ground. And that item can actually hurt you in the background if you're not paying attention. So that's why we immediately start running at the beginning of the level, so we don't have to deal with that environment kind of messing me up there. So we're on to our second boss fight coming up soon. Her name is Revolta. Some deep lore on Revolta, of course, is that Revolta was part of Boogermeister's team from the very beginning, but she was deemed too hideous to be on the surface. So therefore, they put a mask on her, and they basically had it to where she had to live in the sewers, so no one would have to look at her. And it's really sad, because she's, you know, she's actually a really nice lady. Obviously, she's being very safe with COVID going on right now, doing her thing. And yeah, so I think she was sorely mistreated. Her attacks include pogo bouncing on her jump stick there, as well as she can burp thunderclouds and throw out copies of her face, which move in a sinusoidal pattern across the screen and kind of have the chance to hurt you. And she's dead. She does have the best death animation. She dies by seeing her own face.
Nice one, Dr. Maxtermind.
So that's like the best. Alright, we're moving on to Boogerville, which is the main town where all of the nose goblins and all of the enemies actually live. This is their hometown, which makes me think that Boogerman is not actually... He's the hero of Earth, but he's definitely the villain of Dimension Excrement, because he's just like walking up into people's homes and taking them out, which is never the greatest thing. So here, what we're attempting to do, for the most part, is this level will teach us how to use vines. So these sets of 4 levels will definitely test our ability to be able to climb. And one of the funny things about vines in general is that you have to hold up on the input pad in order to get like a legitimate hold on the vine and actually grab it. So it's a little bit interesting. If you don't manage to get that, sometimes you just fall off the vine and to your death. So we're gonna try not to do that as best we can. I'm gonna jump over that trampoline on purpose. It despawns a Zit Man on this bar. So that's one of the enemy manips I was talking about earlier. By jumping over that trampoline, it actually despawns one of those blow up enemies. And the blow up enemies are actually really cool. Well, not for the run, but really cool in design, because they're the only enemies that give you splash damage. So after they blow up and they die, the puddle that they leave behind can still hurt you. So you just have to be a little bit careful in that regard. I guess the other thing that I wanted to mention as I make my way through this level here is that overall, another thing about this is that this game is a retro platformer, as is a lot of retro platformers. It is extremely unforgiving. You only start with 3 lives, and in those 3 lives, of course, you know, once you lose those 3 lives, it's game over. There is no checkpoint system. There is a password system, which is helpful if you're practicing, of course. The other thing is the life that I get, the number of hits, is actually determined by the color of my cape. So yellow cape means I only have 1 hit. Red cape means I have 2, and flashing yellow and red means I have 3. Well, I was trying to pick up that cape to show you. and messed up. Alright, so we're gonna make our way here through the rest of this area. Again, you see, as we make our way through, we have a lot more enemies on the screen as compared to some of the other levels that we've done so far. There we go. Now you guys can see the flashing yellow and red. And that's the end of that level.
And Dr. Maxtermind, you said you played this as a kid, right?
I did. When I was 5 years old, I got it on release.
Wow. And how long did it take you to beat the game the first time? I'm just curious.
I probably rage quit the first time. quite a bit. I would probably say that as a child of 5, I probably didn't beat this game until I was like 7 or something, because I probably at 5 years old I was a little anger-filled small child that just wanted to beat the Boogerman and couldn't.
Yes, I was about to say this game looks very very difficult even for me to play. Gotta take it slow, or else I'm not good at platformers, though, I gotta say.
It's actually really funny the amount of people that are like, man, this game looks really interesting, but I'm not good at retro games. And it's like, no one's really good at retro games, to be honest. Because retro games are extremely difficult. So they, it just takes a lot of practice and like taking things slow and like learning where all the enemies spawn. Because, you know, most of the time on the game itself, you know, I'm trying to think at least 2 screens ahead. So I can be like, okay, coming up, there's 2 nose goblins, 1 zit man, and 3 boogers bouncing on the floor. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then sometimes the rooms, same when I run like Resident Evil 1, the rooms get discombobulated in my head. And so I'm like, how many nose goblins are there again? So it's basically a mental math game. Every time I'm playing.
Yeah, a lot of memorizing with these old platformers and just knowing exactly when to jump.
Yeah, so one of the cool things about it though is like, you know, in general when we talk about more modern games or like the classic Resident Evils and stuff like that, we talk about the, you know, the lines and stuff. And this one doesn't really have many lines, just basically because you're running to the right. Like the entire time, which is always nice. So one of the things I do want to talk about is right back there is the very, very small instance of iframe use. This game doesn't have a lot of iframes. It has more iframes for the bosses than it does for Boogerman. And one of the things is if you're in the middle of the booger throwing animation, at the very middle point, you do have an iframe associated with throwing the booger. So what I did there after I went through the nose at that one portion was I tried to throw a booger as the guy up top threw a booger downwards. And what that did is it caused the booger he threw downwards to go through my hitbox without causing me to get damaged. And that's like the 1 or 2 versions of iframe abuse that we're actually going to use in the run. So, alright, we're making our way down. All the way to our next boss here, which is Flyboy. This is my favorite boss if I can get the trick down. So this is the one boss that we can actively use hitbox manipulation due to a trick that I learned on the boundaries while routing this game a long time ago. So Flyboy is the first boss that is actually 100% in the air. And you have to use the trampoline to fight him. And one of the things we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get him stuck in this flight animation. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually slightly going outside the frame of the boundary box, and that's causing him to basically not be able to see me. And if he can't see me, he automatically flies to the other side. So when he's in the air, we're trying to get him to fly to the other side so that we can continuously jump on his head. And basically, I messed up one time, but that was basically almost a perfect Flyboy fight because we were able to head out of the boundary points a couple times. Right, so here is our first absolutely vertical mountain, and I messed up a spawn. Hold on, there it is. Okay, I messed up a spawn manipulation. It actually despawned the trampoline that I needed. Instead of the enemy that I wanted to despawn. So good old classic retro memes. This is also one of the levels that you can use the chili pepper to kind of skip part of it, because again you can fly. So if you can just fly up to earlier parts of the, or to later parts of the level, you're actually pretty good. You can skip like entire lengths of the stage in general. Okay, so this is a good part of the level to talk about. Is there a max pick his nose incentive? Yo, you make one up on the fly and I'll do it for you. That's disgusting, but I'll do it for you if we reach a certain amount. I don't know where we're at in terms of total donations. Because unfortunately my OBS,
as long as you turn off your webcam before Max.
Turn off my webcam? Oh, then no one sees it though. Oh, okay. That's okay. So I get to talk about this game over screen as well as the hardest set of levels, which are in these nasal caverns right here. So this is the first thing that I can talk about twice. The first one is this is the first set of 4 levels that's actually split into 2 sets of 2 levels. So how it works is basically whenever you game over, you go back to the first level of the set. So if I needed to game over on a single level, this is the best one to do it on, because instead of going all the way back to Mucus Mountain 1, we go back to Nasal Caverns 1, which is fine. The other thing I can talk about is the Nasal Caverns levels are the hardest levels in Boogerman by far because of one very, very simple oversight in the design of the game. Oh, come on, man. You don't have to hit me like that. That was just rude. And that is hitbox. So the smallest hitboxes in the game are actually the individual boogers that bounce across the screen. The second smallest hitboxes in the game are these floating platforms. And it makes no sense. So if you don't land exactly on the floating platform at the right point, you will it looks like you fall through the platform's hitbox and you hit the green snot lake. And that's exactly what happened just a second ago as I slipped off the side. So one of the things about the green snot lake is that it takes away a life as soon as you hit the green water, but it also takes away a life as soon as you spawn in. So it is the most dangerous place to die because it takes 2 of your 3 lives. So that's why the game over happened, because I had already lost a life previously. And so I was like, oh no! But it's all good.
Also, I just wanted to remind everyone about some of our incentives we still have open. We have the Sonic final the final story %, and we also have a bid war for the costume for RE2. So get those donations in if you want to see a specific costume.
Yo, I'm excited for the Sonic run. I think that one's gonna be cool. I think those incentives are really dope as well. And then as far as the bid war goes, I don't know which team I'm on. Who's winning and who's not winning? Alrighty.
Right now we still have the 98 costume in the lead by I think it is $6. So only I think it's actually 11. I can't do math. Let's say $17. $17 away from Noir. It looks like 98 took a little bit of a lead.
Okay, then I'm Team Noir. Let's go. Team Underdog. I'm ready. So, I see Harding said something about the sound chip. Yeah, you know, the sound chip and blast processing is what made Sega just, you know, orders of magnitude better than Nintendo at the time, because Genesis does what Nintendo don't. So, you know, just keep that in mind. So we're gonna do a little bit of damage boosting here just to get past that one guy and move on. If Deagle's in chat, he's gonna kill me for making the Genesis versus SNES comment or Nintendo comment. These levels also introduce us to these minor goblins. Now, the minor goblins are really dangerous because they swing their pickaxes everywhere, so it is impossible to hit them on their heads. So you saw I just picked up a chili pepper there. I'm not going to use it, and I am going to get hit intentionally before the end of the level on purpose to get rid of that. So we're not going to worry about that. But here comes our next favorite choke point, which is another floating platform that is on a geyser that will either mess me up or will be good. Okay, we're good. We landed on the right spot this time. So we only got one platform meme. I will take that. Let's keep making our way through here. One of the things that I'll actually show after the run, I meant to show it beforehand and totally forgot, is I want to show you guys the way that I do something called a thumb roll. Any retro runners probably know what a thumb roll is, but it's something I wanted to show before. So this is our 4th boss, Deodorant. He has a dedicated pattern of attacks, but there is a chance if he does his animation early, like he just did, that his pattern will be way off, and so that's terrifying. So he moves from side to side. Every time he crawls underground, 6 rocks will fall from the ceiling, and sometimes drop items, sometimes not. He also is the most dangerous boss in the fact that he has 2 attacks that actually take away your attacks. So his, I believe it's his like his bug spray. This attack basically takes away your ability to throw boogers, and his breath mint attack basically takes away your ability to burp. And that's very dangerous when you're trying to like obviously go pretty quick in the run. You don't want to lose the ability to do any of your powers. Also, chat, let's see if anyone catches this. His pattern is right, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right. Let's see if anyone responds and knows that pattern. Oh no! I was monologuing, dude. That's just rude. Unfortunately, it is not the Konami code, but that would be hilarious. I need a cape real bad, but I'm not gonna get one, it looks like. There we go, he's dead. Oh, Monkey TOS. There we go. That's okay, I blocked it. We're good. Alright guys and gals, we are on the final set of levels for Boogerman, so if you want to get those donations in here at the end, that would be awesome. I would like us to get to...
for these last levels, Maxtermind.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to hearing whatever the, you know, if we're close to a milestone, let's go ahead and hit it. These are the only 4 levels. They test your entire skill throughout the game, obviously, on everything that we've done so far, as well as these are the only, okay, please turn around. These are the only levels that actually have no load screens. So the plungers don't matter. It's like, whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up and the plungers don't matter. And then, this is also the only set of levels that has different transforms. Instead of noses and stuff like that, we have these giant Boogermeister faces. And one of the interesting things is if you actually push your inputs too early, it immediately warps you back through the face, which is really annoying. So, we'll make our way through here.
We have time for actually one donation.
Oh, absolutely, go for it.
We have a wonderful $1.99 donation from, or $1.99, I should specify, from Underrated Critic. Shout out to everyone in the stream who has rescue pets. My cat was rescued as a newborn kitten. That's awesome, and I personally have 4 cats, so I am all about saving the animals and just giving them to good homes.
You know, has anyone ever seen Snee and I in the same room? We might be the same person. Because I also have 4 cats that are all rescues. 2 of them are named Sherlock and Watson, and the other 2 are named Smokey and Bandit. So, for the younger crowd, Smokey and Bandit might, you might not get the reference, but... Everyone knows Sherlock and Watson. They're adorable, and they deserve all the love in the world. So this is an awesome charity, and I'm really, really happy to be a part of it. So.
Yeah, and once again, we're raising money for PawsYourGame today, and they it's a non-profit animal advocacy group, and the mission is to help raise awareness funds and other resources for animal shelters, rescues, and sanctuaries through video game marathons, streaming, and other events such as tournament and outland parties hosted by PawsYourGame.
So, chat will probably just see that I made a pretty ridiculous looking face a second ago. There's the chance if you're holding an input on any of these floors that look like tongues, that if you're holding an input, you'll fall through the floor. And I fell through one of the floors and I was like, aw, come on, game. Don't do that to me. So that was the face that I made. I am told I make some very interesting faces when I'm speedrunning in general. Or immersed. Okay, so we're gonna go through this multi-tiered level here. I forgot, is this the second level or the third? I kind of lost my place in where I was going. So, what we're going to be doing here, if it is the third level, is I'm going to be showing you, yeah, this is the third level. This is the only major skip of the game. There's all of that tiered work right there, but instead we're just going to fall off and hold right, and we skip all of that jump. So we're just going to go ahead and head on up here. Yes, Snee, what are your cats' names?
Oh, my cat's name, so I have Tom and Jerry. I kind of have a matching pair as well. And then we have Sammy or Samantha and Jackie. We like to keep it people names.
Nice.
They're part of the family.
I like it.
And then my dog's name is Bruce, and everyone laughs at that.
I mean, what we really need is we just need to name children pet names instead. So this is my son, Fufu, and, you know, my daughter, Gigi, and there you go, see? Look. And then you can name all the pets pet names or human names. So we're actually headed into the final boss right here. We have these double jumping dudes all the way up the stairs. We want to make sure that we don't get hit. We'd love to go into Boogermeister with triple cape. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to go ahead and hit him before he starts his animation. If he starts his animation, we're in big trouble. So I'm spamming that throw like nobody's business. Okay, we're good. So the reason why we want to go ahead and hit him before his animation starts is because Boogermeister does the exact same attacks that Boogerman does. So one of the things that we want to avoid is we want to avoid him burping on us at the very beginning of the game. And that's what happens. He's going to burp on me here. That's what happens if we don't hit him with his animation. So timer's going to stop right now. GG.
Good game, DrMaxtermind.
I believe we flushed this one in the name of Pause Your Game and Charity Love. So we're going to see a couple, if anyone doesn't mind, we're going to see a couple funny things here at the end screen, because you can still move, as in a lot of retro games, you can move during the credits. And one of the things is during the credits you have infinite chili pepper, which is one of the items that we did not pick up during the game. And it actually allows you to do things like this, that fireball burp, the fireball fart, which is also called a butt blast, technical term, and it allows you to fly all the way across the screen whenever you want. Usually in game there is a meter that tells you how much you have left, but this is also really cool. And then if we go into the men's room, we put back on our Snotty Ragsdale cosplay, and our booger throw button, or I'm sorry, our jump button is actually used. We can dust the equipment, so which is kind of cool. If we wanted to also do that. One of the things I was going to show you guys with the whole retro gaming thing is, as well, is my controller. I use a Genesis controller. I also use an Xbox controller. I map my two buttons for booger throw and jump on these two that are closest to my thumb. So when I'm actually playing the game and my thumb is right here, I start on the knuckle of my thumb and I roll it to the left. So by rolling it quickly to the left, I'm able to hit almost like it's two inputs at once. They're just back to back. And that's how I'm able to get a lot of those jump throws that I was doing throughout the game. So, as I said, GG's, the credits are playing. I know that we're probably ready to go on to the next run. I'm excited for the next run as well. So I just want to say final words here. Thank you to everyone that was, obviously everyone doing tech setup. Shout outs to Nico, Amai, Dan, anyone doing that. Sneeble, thank you for being an absolutely amazing host. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. It was a pleasure being here, DrMaxtermind.
And thank you to all the other hosts as well, all of the Thunderthon staff and organizers, and of course, this is going to sound very like G.I. Joe or Sesame Street, to viewers like you. Because without viewers like you, streamers like me, wouldn't have the confidence to come out here and do these kinds of things with you. And also for all the donators and viewers that have helped make this marathon what it is. I wanted to stall long enough for the credits to say thank you to you as well. So I appreciate it. That's all from me, of course. Enjoy the rest of the runs, and I will see you guys in chat.
Perfect. Thank you so much, DrMaxtermind. And everyone, remember to go give DrMaxtermind a follow if you enjoyed this run and you want to see more like that. He is an awesome streamer, awesome guy. So go give him a follow and check out his channel. So we will just be going on break for a little bit, setting up for the next run. So Skip will be running Contra, any %. So that will be up next.